Welcome to the Live at the Counts Q&A with our artist, Barney McAll. Barney, that was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Very much, Chelsea, for listening. Appreciate it. I appreciate the whole gig.
We've had some really great questions coming through from some of our audience, but before we get those loaded up on the screen, I was wondering if we could go back a little bit in time and just talk about after you finished your study at the Victorian College of the Arts, you moved to New York. What made you decide to move to New York, and what was that experience like?
Well, after our Corona experience, we may as well just go all the way. So basically my sister died, and she was a fantastic singer. Her name was Pip, and she was a good friend with Shelley Scown and Rebecca Bernard and Nisha Fitzgibbon. And when she died, no one could really help me. The only thing that could help me is to travel around the world and try to work out what it's all about. Alfie. And so there was that, and I also won the piano competition at Wangaratta, so I had some money and I was going to go to New York anyway. But really I was spurred on by trying to understand things and to just learn. So that's why I went, and I continue to try to learn. I try to keep trying to learn. And when I was there, people would say, "Oh, you're a pretty good piano player. You're Barney McAll, play with Vince Jones." When I got to New York, they were like kids who were 15, and it just blew me away. And my response was to call them up for a lesson.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, and I'm so sorry to hear about your sister. They say that New York really changes people, and it's a hard place. Do you think it changed you?
I like the religious guy, more a spiritual person, Ram Dass, says everyone should live in New York for 1 year.
I've heard that.
And he also says, if you think you're spiritual, go and live with your family for a couple of weeks. But I love that idea, and I definitely am so grateful for my experience there. And, I met my wife there. We had beautiful babies there. And it was just so enriching to understand the world. And when I think about the crazy life I was living there, I really don't know how I did it. But I definitely learned. The main thing I learned is how to try to connect to a singingness in my own music, and playing with someone like Gary Bartz, who plays so beautiful and so narratively. He's not playing. His quote is, "People are afraid to hear because of music paper." And I love that. And he is such a natural player, and he gets so much sunshine in his playing. And so if I'm playing with him and he finishes soloing, I better play something good. And so I had to dredge up what I didn't know was in me. And New York gave me that, definitely, that ability.
So you've worked with so many incredible artists. You've mentioned Vince Jones. You've also worked with Maceo Parker, and you were Sia's musical director for a couple of years. What do you think makes a really successful collaboration?
It's just chemistry, isn't it, really? I mean, I was very lucky, man. I mean, especially with Vince, because he was a very wise musician and knew a lot of songs. He knew a lot of songs that no one does. And, speaking of Maceo, I remember I was at a sound check with Fred Wesley, and Maceo was on the gig. And Maceo was just shedding, and we were talking, and then he said, let's play. Do you know, he says, do you know You Don't Know Me? And I said, I do know it. Why did I know it? Because Vince did it, and I love it through Vince. And I thought about Vince when Maceo asked me that, because if I'm just a kid from Ruralbach, You Don't Know Me by Ray Charles unless you're hip, I think. So Vince and it all sort of fed on itself, and then working with Daniel Merriweather and Sia, I had no idea about these realms of pop realms and big stages and everything. And now that really informs what I do. I love it. I keep learning through all these amazing freaks that I just somehow get a chance to hang with,
I love that, the Vince Jones Academy of Repertoire.
Oh, definitely. And I feel like
jazz apprenticeship.
I feel like there's something missing in our, there's not a Vince Jones in a way now. I mean, maybe there will be one to come, but...
Well, we've still got him, thankfully, unless you know something I don't.
Of course, no, but I'm saying, that kind of apprenticeship, like he took me in when I was really green. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I couldn't believe when the manager handed me actual money for a gig, and I just couldn't believe how good it was, and that they were also respectful. And I came up like that, and I think that's so important. I try to do it and try to have young people playing with young people a lot, but yeah, it's really important, and it sort of helped me.
So you're working on a new record at the moment that you'll be releasing next February. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's all ready to go. I'm releasing it on the 18th of February, and it features Gary Bartz and the players from Hiatus Coyote, and Rita Satch sings on it, Jace XL, Belle Bangard, and Lanius, and I'm really excited about it. It's kind of like sun rays for Corona. Like I made it while we were all locked down. We went in the studio a few times. And it's just, it's a really warm, sort of soulful album, and a lot of songs, and I wrote a lot of songs and co-wrote some songs. So it's called Precious Energy, and it's out on the 18th of February on vinyl.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to get a copy.
Thank you, Chelsea. I will give you one.
I will purchase one. And you can purchase Barney McAll's music. Check out Bandcamp, and also you've got a Patreon. So become a patron. We've got an audience question here from Anonymous, somebody who didn't leave their name, but they want some info about the name of the instrument that you're playing, and I'm guessing they're not referring to the piano.
Yes, it's called it's an Indian instrument. It's kind of a hybrid instrument based on the Japanese koto, and it's called a bulbul tarang, Bulbultarang, which directly translates as waves of nightingales. And I was doing a film score, and the tabla player on the film score, I was looking at some of his videos online, and he was playing this instrument, and I was like, that's perfect, because I don't know what I'm doing with my left hand. I can only hear and play the shapes. I don't know what keys, what notes they are, and it gets me away from my mind. So I got it, and I love playing it. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, it's such an incredible sound. I love that you're able to create those layers and that kind of atmosphere. Magdalena would like to know, what is it that leads you to switch genres? Is it harmony first, idea second, or something else entirely?
Yeah, I don't see them as genres in a strange way. I mean, obviously there are genres. I just follow what feels good and what I like. When I was doing the solo thing there, I was just sort of flipping between radio stations in a way, like just what do I feel like now, and so I have studied, Afro-Cuban piano styles. I've played in the church, so I've really got inside that as much as I could to try to understand those beautiful colors, and I'm doing it all as a way to kind of help me transmute my life and what I take into music. So it's not really genre, although yes, obviously you can say there's genres, but I'm just going with what feels good, and I try to mix them as well, because I feel like, Black American music is an incredible vortex that is just so beautiful, but you can get lost in it. So I just try to just see what I can filter through a sort of distillery. It's, all music stems from Africa, so I mean there's that, but yeah, I just try to go with what feels good,
I know tonight you said that you weren't playing compositions, you were playing melodies.
Yeah, I love that. Like Gary Bartz also, he's my mentor, and he says, the melody is the umbilical cord in music, and it all comes from the melody, and there's so much to melody, and also melodies through the ages speak about different times. Melodies are healing, and we need melodies. We need melodies.
Yeah, it's so important. Every significant event in our life, there's a accompanying melody. Happy birthday, special events, celebrations.
And in African culture, they say that melodies are just around, like they might be in this fern, and they might be between two ferns. No, they might be in a rock, and they can come and jump into your life if you're open to that. I just love that idea.
Yeah. Do you feel like that when you're composing, that they just come to you?
I wouldn't go as far as to say that, but I do definitely. I definitely use kind of a story or a narrative always, like try to invoke, try to describe something. A melody describes some feeling or something, and that, I think, imbues the melody with some otherness, as opposed to, this melody goes on this scale. You know what I mean? So it's definitely an abstraction, and I can't really answer how they work, but I feel like
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
It is a mystery. Sadie would like to know, what is the best venue you've ever played?
The
That
Village,
counts. It's got to be. Come on.
the Village Vanguard.
Yes. Okay. Good answer.
I would say is the greatest venue. I feel. I mean, I actually, when I got to play, I played there a number of times. When I played there, I thought, one time I thought, I'm gonna like try to invoke the spirits of this place. Like, everyone talks about the spirits, and I played this thing, and I literally disappeared. And I was watching my hands, and I couldn't believe it. Like, I played for like 10 minutes. I was playing with Gary, and after the set, I went to the band room, and I said, Gary, I'm sorry I played so long. He goes, however long it takes, man. But the Vanguard brings there's a lot of residue there of amazing spirit. And also, I mean, just the history of it, it's so beautiful, man. So beautiful. The sound, just a small, intimate place. I'm honored to have played there, man. Great.
Dylan asks, how do you gain the confidence to play with such conviction?
I really appreciate that question, Dylan, because I'm in and out of finding it, and it exists in the present moment. So it's, it is all about confidence and conviction. I'm really glad that you perceived what I did, that I had confidence and conviction. Sometimes I wavered and sometimes I was really there. And that's our plight, as musicians, to always find the present moment. And if you can just shut the mind off. I do a lot of meditation because I try to dispense with all thoughts. Like the key is doing a lot of practice on the left brain, and then when you play, you do a lot of practice on the right brain too, like creative, free. But when you play, you're kind of in the middle, and you're not thinking, you're just being. You know what I mean? That's probably it.
I loved that reflection that you shared during the performance of being a child and the crabs and the waves. There was a lot of response I saw online to that memory and imagery that you shared. Do you think the pandemic has changed you and has been a really reflective time and impacted your music?
I think it's changed everyone. And I think it's taken a scalpel to a lot of bullshit. It's taken a scalpel to a lot of capitalism. It's taken a scalpel to a lot of innocent people, underprivileged people. I won't even go into it. But just in terms of, I'll speak for myself, that, those memories, I realized that I was, as a musician, I'm trying to recreate those warm currents of when I was swimming at Mount Martha as a kid. I'm trying to recreate that warmth. But I'm also okay that there's going to be cold currents. And I suppose this rave that I went on came out of Corona, where I'm thinking, we cannot control things. We can just control what our reactions to things, and we can stay present. So that's what it's really what I was trying to get to, and I think that's what one of the many things that this terrible couple of years has taught me.
I've got one last question for you. There are musicians currently studying music here at Monash. I'm wondering if you have any advice for them on making a career in music and a living as an artist.
100%. We are warriors. And the work of music is crucially important, more important. The paradox is that music is more important now than ever before, and less validated. And this whole capitalist movement of streaming rates and all that stuff, all this external stuff, where some great talents look to the external and feel like, oh, no one listens to my stuff, I must not be good. Incorrect. It's internal. And if you do the work, you will get results, because the muse is watching, especially now. She's saying, okay, this young student over here, he's working every day. This guy's got a lot of talent, but he's not shedding much, and he's not really that serious. Let me have a look. Oh, this guy, I feel like the muse blesses people if you really do the work. And so to all young people, do the work and let the momentum be your actual growth in music. Learn a hard piece. Learn it a little bit every day, and then let that show you that it's so beautiful. Then you go to a party, you play the piece, everyone gets laid.
You heard it here, live at
And
the
no
Counts.
bully will kick sand in your face ever again on the beach. No.
Well, Barney McAll, thank you so much for joining live at the Counts, and we can't wait to have you back at the club with a live audience hopefully next year.
Well, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for everything. Thanks for setting this up. Thanks to Count Grabowski, Monash University, and the whole kit and caboodle, all these people here. And it's just a pleasure to play again. And thanks to everyone for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to Live at the Counts. Thank you for joining our Live at the Counts concert series. We'd like to say thank you to Monash University Performing Arts Centre's technical crew and staff for their incredible work. For information on future shows and more extraordinary live performances, follow @Monash PAC.